It sort of feels like getting up, if you're on a roller coaster ride, you get to the very, very top, and now you're all taking the exciting plunge with me. So thanks so much for being here. I've been managing for about 1.5 years. I've been at Moz for about 3 years. And I've learned a lot about customer service while I've been here. I've learned a lot about inbound marketing. And I think that the two are connected in a way that we don't usually think about. Social media is a great example of when we are thinking about it, and I'm going to be talking about social media a lot, but I think that ultimately the best customer service is when your customers feel empowered, and I think that you guys have a big role to play there. So there's 3 themes to fantastic customer service. The first is pretty obvious. You want to make an emotional connection with customers and make them feel good. You want to make everything public, so it's very easy for customers to find things and share things. And you want to make it very easy. You want contacting you to be really easy and finding answers to be really easy. I love customer service. I always have, and I think it's because it's for a lot of reasons, but I think the main reason is it makes me have a sense of belonging and a sense of being valued. And I think that a lot of people just want to belong somewhere. Our marketing team all went to a furry convention earlier this week, and I think they just wanted to assert their identities, They didn't really do that. So I want to give you a quick example of this. I heard about this restaurant opening up in Seattle a few months ago. It was called Frolic. Some of you may have even been there. It's a few blocks away. And it's just this rooftop bar. It has ping pong. It's really cool. So I tweeted about it. And their social media person tweeted back at me and said, hey, what kind of food do you like? We haven't opened yet, so we're still planning. I said that I'm vegetarian and vegan, so anything that they have around that would be great. And so they said thank you, thanks for the feedback. And I didn't hear from them, but I thought it was cool. And then a month later, they email me and say, hey, you talked to us on Twitter a while ago. How would you like to come down and have free drinks and food and just be part of this party that we have? And yeah, of course I want to do that. So I did, and it was great. And clearly there's some value to them for me doing this. They must think of me as someone who tweets a lot, so the joke's on them. I don't actually tweet that much. But I did talk about my great experience, and I think that regardless of what their incentive was to inviting me, I felt valued. That was really important to me. So customer service is establishing that connection and making people feel good. But I think that where marketing comes in is making that public and making that relationship visible, sharing it. When customers share their good feelings, when they share their good customer service they've experienced, you see increases throughout the marketing funnel. You acquire new customers, you retain old customers, customers increase the amount of money that they spend, and they aren't as angry when you inevitably screw up, because you're going to screw up. That's why there's a customer service team in a lot of places. You'll also see that these increases will build this virtuous cycle of link building and community building and people that care about your brand, which in turn feeds that funnel, and it's just this great relationship. So I'm going to go into those a little bit. In terms of acquiring new customers, I'm sure you all know when you're referred to a company, you trust it a lot more than if you're just finding it on a billboard or if you look it up in Google blind. And there's a couple posts. I'm going to talk about ThinkGeek and MailChimp a couple times. They're both here, and I think they're both examples of companies that do customer service so right. They're such great companies. So Reddit apparently thinks so too, and Reddit people aren't that easy to please. They post about the great customer support that they received at ThinkGeek, and people voted up, and then this thread is just oh yeah, I love ThinkGeek. They're the best company ever. I did a search for ThinkGeek customer service, and one of the first results that I got, though I do search for customer service things a lot, was about the great ThinkGeek customer service experience someone had. And then these links to Doctor Who, sonic screwdrivers and a TARDIS. So they even got links just through providing great customer service. I wear Warby Parker glasses, and I like Warby Parker. I think they're a really good company. And apparently, so does Carly Allen. I looked at Warby Parker's wall, and this person loves their customer service. And so much so that they have made this person a repeat customer, and they post that on their wall. The Warby Parker CEO said, we were a bit surprised because already we have the highest loyalty in the eyeglasses industry around. And there's tons of websites that sell glasses and tons of them that sell them for a lot more and a lot less. But there's something about Warby Parker where their customers come back, and they come back again and again. I think that's largely because of their customer service. Fab is a luxury goods company. Some of you probably use them. They sell all sorts of really cool stuff. And they also have the fantastic loyalty program that I even hear about from, like Renee talks to me about it. She's our retention marketer. And here's this tweet exchange between Nosley and Fab. Nosley's just saying, I love you guys. I wish you had this feature. They tweet back, and then Nosley doesn't say, thanks, like, you guys listen to me. She says, thanks, I love you. You're fantastic. I love you. Customers spend more if they can rely on your customer service and they can rely on a relationship with that company. And then finally, this is a blog post by our CTO, Anthony, from last year. Karin talked about the crawl issues that we were experiencing. So this is a blog post addressing those. We went in depth about like what was going wrong. And Zeph, who's actually here in the audience today, hey Zeph, wherever you are, he said, this is really painful. I had to go to my client and talk to them about what was going on. But also, thanks for the explanation, and I really appreciate it. And I think that you guys are a uniquely forgiving community. I love working with you all. It really is a pleasure. But I also think that you trust us to be forthcoming when we need to, and I think that that trust is worth a lot. It's worth a lot to me, and I know it's worth a lot to everyone at our company. But you're all inbound marketers. You don't do customer service. How do you make this stuff happen? Maybe some of you are in social media, and you are empowered to do this. But on a broad level, I think all of you can affect big changes for your customers now. The first step is to create great content. And I know you've all been creating great content for a long time. You're super hipster about it. But I think you haven't been thinking about making great help content. I go to so many websites that don't talk about their products on their site. Instead, I have to go hunting. And I think that's really silly. It's effective to build help content. Here's MailChimp, this pretty basic term, email campaign. They're help content second and fifth here. Rdio is an online music app that I use. And I looked up iPhone offline mode because I wanted to know how it was working on my iPhone. And all the results were all help articles. You can also see the stuff is getting linked to, as validated in this SERP. There's almost 100 external links, most of them followed, just to help articles. So clearly people are getting value out of these. I think that the way you can do this is to build a help content strategy alongside your normal content strategy. If you look through your Google Analytics internal site search, you can see what terms customers are having problems with. Clearly, if people are looking at page authority and domain authority, we need to do a better job explaining what those are right in your face. And we're working on it. You should go to your customer service team and say, what are the top 10 questions that you get about product X or feature X? And do that across all of your products and your features so that you can create content around it. And eventually, you can actually empower the customer service team themselves to write this content. They probably already are. If you don't know, we use macros a lot. People ask repeat questions all the time. You see it with products all the time. So we have this content. It's just kept in this one-to-one private exchange, which is really silly. So create a place for the customer service team to build that content. Make a simple text editor. Don't make customer service do CSS and formatting of images. Just make it simple for them to build it. They already have the content. And if you give them that search, they can combine that with the frequently asked questions to build out the content even further. You should also give them some basic training around SEO. That's kind of your guys' thing. I think that if you can talk to them about how to format a title and just use keywords appropriately, you're going to see this stuff start ranking for long term, but also for short tail terms. ThinkGeek, again, fantastic customer service. There's a lot of ways to make sure that customers themselves can write this content. ThinkGeek does a great job of it. They use a Facebook widget that is installed on each product page, and customers will say, like, oh, I love this hat. This is the coolest shirt. But they also will say, like, I have this very specific remote control I want to use for this thing. Does it work? And another customer who is also like very specific and geeky will say, yes, it works. I've tried it on 100 systems, and it's perfect. So you can see customers are answering each other right there. And those answers are so much more trustworthy than what customers would think of as marketing copy. ModCloth is another company that does a great job of this. ModCloth sells clothing, and people will buy the clothes. Then they will put a picture of them wearing the clothes with an exact description of their body and their shape and just everything. It's very transparent, like you can see. That's crazy, man. But they do it, and instead of customers needing to email in a help team and say, hey, I'm this size and this height, and here's my dimensions, does this dress fit on me? Which you're not going to get a good answer to. Another customer's already writing that answer and giving them the answer. So if you can create this public place, it's going to be so much more trustworthy for customers to just convert immediately. If you don't have comments, you can use something like Get Satisfaction. So forums aren't the best if you don't already have something, but I do think that they're better than nothing. And I think that Get Satisfaction and User Voice and a few other companies do a pretty good job of it. This is Mint.com, a customer asking about a feature and another customer answering it. Their customer service wasn't involved at all. So another thing that you guys do great is evaluating your performance. Do that with help content. Make sure that videos are getting watched, and that if they're too long, cut them down. Look through the Google Analytics searches and make sure that those longer tail searches start getting addressed so that over time you have this really rich set of content and customers can find answers on their own. The second biggest part is to help customers share. I think there's 3 reasons that customers want to share, and really you have to keep in mind that it's a selfish action. They're not doing this for you, they're doing it for themselves. It's ways to feel good and get a sense of belonging. So the 3 reasons include saying thank you. We all like saying thank you. You guys say thank you to us a lot. We really appreciate it. Makes us feel really happy. We have a bunch of these up on our wall. Every time we get one, like a tweet about the help team, we'll tape it to the wall. It's really nice of you guys. We want to assert our identities. So I'm a Warby Parker fan, and look, I said it, and then Nick makes fun of me, and then Warby Parker says, thanks for being part of the club. And then, and then also, we want to share our expertise. So this is how Quora and Wikipedia and all these other sites work. I mean, people want to share their expertise. It's validating, and I think that by becoming and sharing enabler, you can make customers feel like it's easy and it's fun. Here's some examples of ways to get customers involved really easily. On your customer service emails, you probably have signatures. So in those signatures, this is an email from Jen at Uber. I gave some feedback, and I got this back. There's a link to the blog post about referrals. There's Twitter and Facebook. All that's right in there. On the customer service team, we have a link at the bottom of our emails that has like a pre-tweet generated. It just says, I got help from the help team. And people will send it just like that, but they also customize it. So make it really easy to tweet. If you have a customer service survey, you can add a Twitter button at the end of that. That is an emotionally engaging time. They're leaving you feedback, and not everyone does that, only the people that are passionate. So add a Twitter button there, and then someone can call out, I had a great experience, or they can say I didn't, and you can address them really easily. MailChimp is, again, fantastic company. They send out these little hats. They have adult-sized hats too, but if you have a cat or a dog, you want a MailChimp hat because these things are adorable. And people love them. They tweet about their cats wearing the hats, and it's on Instagram, it's on Vine, all the fancy things. And it's not just at MailChimp. These people are sharing these pictures with their whole audience. So that's when things are going well. That's how you can empower customers to share. What do you do when things aren't going so well? It's inevitable. Richard White at User Voice, who holds this customer service conference, UserConf, that I really love, he said that Twitter is the small claims court of customer support. And I think it's so true. If you think about your good customer service interactions, you don't yell at someone on Twitter and then they say, oh, I'm sorry, here, I'm going to help you now. You yell on Twitter when Comcast is 7 hours late, or when 1,000 people are having a problem with an app and there's no solution available. So what you got to do there is just own the conversation. Make sure that customers have a place where they can vent that's centralized and where you can help. I think that 37 Signals is an example of a company with a fantastic status page where they'll put information about any downtime. I mean, this is the past week. They had 1 minute of downtime, and they specifically call it out and say, look, we had this downtime. They can tweet that out to all of their followers. If anyone complains, they can direct tweet them there. And I think the only thing it's missing is an area for customers to comment, because I do think there's a lot of importance in venting and in being able to say, I'm having this specific problem. So we have in the Q&A forum, we have a place where you can post known issues. I mean, we'll just do it normally in Q&A. And customers will respond right in there and say, hey, thanks for the update, or I'm really angry, this is really frustrating. We can reach out to them directly, and eventually we'll be able to tell them, hey, we have a solution for you. It's just a much better place than Twitter. So with all that said, just keep in mind we're all customers. We use thousands of companies every year. We want to share. Sharing is an inherent part of our humanity. And we're also very lazy, and very busy. You all seem like very busy people. I know I am. So you can lead the horse to water, but I think it's going to be an emotional connection and a simplicity of use that's going to get them to drink the water, emotionally connect with you, say stuff like, I love you, your customer service is amazing, I love your company. It's not just that they like the plates that they ordered from Target or Amazon. Those are great companies too. But they love Fab. They love Fab.com. To build that, do these things, I think you'll see phenomenal success, and your customers will be the most effective marketing team you ever had. Sorry, marketers. But thank you very much.